but I want to see what you all think. So where you at with this, King D? What would you say?
Well, the question that you propose, is was the is the message moving the community forward is being diluted? I can tell you this much for sure, from what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing, the message definitely isn't diluted, and it's definitely moving forward, and it's moving forward for those who it needs to move forward to. Even though Kevin Samuels was definitely talking to both the men and the women, but I can definitely say it's moving for the men because men are not taking the BS anymore. They're not taking the attitude. They're not taking the slick mouth. They're not taking the entitled mentality. They're not taking that modern women mentality. They're not taking that misandrous like rhetoric or that misandrous like behavior. Men are standing 10 toes down. And yes, you still got some of those sympticons, those panda bears. Yes, you still got them goofies right out there, but you're starting to see them just a little bit less. You're seeing them just a little bit less. You know what I'm saying? And how the men are taking it is that, and how it's working, you see the women get real mad. It's like at this point they're trying to be in survival mode, like trying to latch on to movements that ain't got nothing to do with them. And honestly, I stay out of those dumb conversations. And you know why? Because it reminds me of a Bible verse that I looked up about 4 or 5 months ago. And I pulled it up while you were talking because it reminded me of it. It's in Proverbs chapter 9, verses 7 through 9. Anyone who rebukes a mocker will get an insult in return. Anyone who corrects the wicked will get hurt. So don't bother correcting mockers. They will only hate you.
That's right.
But correct the wise and they will love you. Instruct the wise and they will be even wiser. Teach the righteous and they will learn even more. Which is why I don't engage with those type of women that's on this 4B. It's like they're a lost cause. What Brother Wolfgang would like to say, he calls them the unreachables, because you're not going to get through everybody. And that's one thing I respect about, Kevin Samuels, that even though he knew what he was going to get into, he knew he was going to get the backlash, the shaming, all of that. He's going to get all the sign language for days. But he knew that the message that he was trying to get through was going to be worth something, and that the men were going to hear him. And the few women that heard him, they made the changes. And they came on his platform and said, thank you. I didn't like what you said at first. I kind of wasn't messing with you like that, but it has made positive changes in my life. They wanted to ignore those women and act like those women didn't happen. No, yes, he helped and changed some women's lives. And the ones that's not going to get it, okay, fine. It wasn't meant to get them anyway. But I guarantee you when it's really going to hit them, just like what Brother Blueheart said earlier, when they got all them grays and them cats meowing, wanting their cat food, you know what I'm saying? And the stocks of those dog and cat food brands done skyrocketed and all was making some good money off of that. You know what I'm saying? Is that, yeah, you probably should have listened. So I say the men are moving in a really good direction. You know what I mean? And
So do you think?
yeah,
So okay.
go ahead, sister.
Actually, you know what? I'm a stop right there for me. Okay, I want to touch on something that Blue said too. So I'm gonna have you hold, and then we're gonna go to NWA. I don't know if the NWA mean what it meant back in the day, but NWA, y'all. Phone NWA.
I think a lot of his message, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think a lot of it was built on classism. If you were put in if you were a certain, like he was, finances, depending on how much money you made, if you were the type of person that made a certain amount of money and you were a certain, for instance, 6 feet, you made 6 figures, then that's what you were considered as a high value man. If you were not of that type of, If you didn't make that money and you were not that high, then you were not considered a high value man. And for some, it was kind of like, what's considered a high value man if you aren't that? There's several people that are not like that. For instance, I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, and I work a blue collar job. So does that mean that I'm not considered, or should I not be considered someone that should be loved by my sisters? I got 6 brothers, 2 other cousins, and none of us meet that criteria, but yet and still, you know what I'm saying, we bust our ass and we do what it is that we got to do. And it's like Kevin Samuels just degraded us. A lot of my sisters, make that type of money, but yet and still they are engaged or they have had babies with individuals that are not 6 feet, didn't make 6 figures, but the man that they did, they're in love with and they've been in love with. And so for me, Kevin Samuels just really kind of like shitted on those that he felt.
NWA, hold on one second. Let me stop you right there. I'm sorry I have to stop you. It's okay. But let me show you something. I don't know. Let me ask you a question. How often did you watch Kevin Samuel?
Uh, 30-40% of the time that he was on.
And you said it, you heard him or you took it as though his message was putting down blue collar workers like yourself.
Yes, I heard him speak. I heard him speak, not necessarily myself, but I heard him speak a high value man making and being of a certain height as far as those being high value men, and the women should look at them as high value men, and they should be the ones.
Let me do something real quick. Hold on.
Black women seem to have this figured out. Why? Why do non-black women not tend to have the same amount of disdain, contempt for blue-collar men? And I listen to this woman try to sit back and explain as to why, it's not really that bad. And, it comes down to this. You're in love with the thought of what it could be instead of what it really is. Blue-collar men, marriage and education. Dear educated women, blue-collar men can earn great livings.
Yeah.
It's worth remembering, if you're looking for a husband or a partner, the U.S. economy is aching for more highly skilled, technologically and trained people. But if men end up limiting their eventual marriage prospects, if they pursue careers in the trades or other jobs that don't require a 4-year degree, some portion of women who have bachelor's or post-baccalaureate degrees avoid romantic involvement with such guys, holding out for those BAs, MBAs, JDs, which is to say, they seek potential husbands who have degrees that are more generally esteemed than those who have earned in a year or two. Same with the kinds of training acquired via apprenticeships or armed forces. This is a vital matter because young men who enjoy working with their hands might choose not to pursue careers in construction, manufacturing, for fear women will dismiss them out of hand as life partners. But do women with more advanced degrees really steer clear of men in trades and similar fields? Do they really give men with advanced degrees more position? And the answer in the black community, without a doubt, it's called marrying down. How many blue-collar men know for a fact you have out-earned your black female counterpart? But because she has an office job, she has the nerve to look down on you and guys like you, while she's in tens of thousands of dollars of debt. Happens all the time. Why, sisters? Why? Why do you have such disdain for blue-collar men? It ain't how the men look at each other. Let's also answer these questions. Blue-collar men, white-collar men can't do shit without blue collar men. That's why we respect them. Blue collar men have, in my experience, tend to have more class than a lot of white collar women. Oh shit. Why? Because far too many white collar women are so rude, so disrespectful, so contemptuous, so contentious with how in which they handle blue collar men. And I'm not talking about the guy who's just working. I'm talking about the blue Henrys, the guys who you blow it because you're fast over George Jefferson because all you see is a dry cleaner. You don't see that he's doing that to learn the business, and he's getting his credit together and get money so he can buy a chain of dry cleaners. You don't get to that point in the conversation. You just go in there and hand him your cleaning. Then when he ends up marrying Becky, because this is what's happening. See, George back in the 70s married a dark-skinned woman because George wouldn't have been able to get one of them high-end Whitley Gilberts. He married Wheezy. But now he's marrying Becky and Marisol. Ooh, damn. Did I say this? Did I say this? That's right. Colorism. Ain't no colorism. Black men don't want dark-skinned black women. What black men are you talking about? You jumping over a whole group of black men who are skilled tradespeople, who in any other group would be superstars because they're not cultured. You can't take them nowhere. I can't go nowhere with these guys. They're boring. They're uncouth. And Obsidian actually brought this point up. If these shows the last 3 weeks have showed nothing else, black men, you need to understand something. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is the expectation. Pay attention. Regardless as to what they say, black women want and expect men to pay all 100% of the bills. All. Without exception. Don't listen to what they say. This is what they want, and this is what they want. This is what they want, and this is what they expect. So when you hear that woman talk about 50-50, well, can't we do 70-30? That 70-30 only comes along once they feel good that you can actually pay 100%. At least I get a sister on that when I was going off on that sister in Houston talking about you're broke if you don't earn 2 or 3 times as much as me. She said, I will pay for a man to do something if I know and have seen and validated that he makes more money and blah, 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 blah. I give her credit for at least saying the truth. Now, she'll never get that. They expect you to pay all the bills. So understand something. If you're a black man and you want to get married, or if you want to and have children, you might as well, and you expect to marry a black woman, you might as well you better just divorce yourself with this 50-50 shit. That 50-50 argument goes away. I didn't make these rules, guys, and just because they say they'll accept it, okay, try it. Try it. Because
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. But
Please do.
I'm gonna stop it right there. But I wanted to just play a little. I played a little bit more than I could have. But sorry. But did you hear and what he said about the blue collar worker? Did you hear?
Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't see that one. I know that.
And let me just say this. This brother, and I know that there are blue collar workers on this panel right now, and they all can attest to it. I watched him day in and day out. I watched him Monday, I watched him Wednesday, and I would be watching him tonight if he was alive right now. He always advocated for blue collar working black men, always, but for the blue collar worker in general. He was so upset about this one woman dissing blue collar working men. He literally got up from his seat, walked away, because I think he was so mad. He was so upset he didn't want to blow up online. But Kevin Samuels was an advocate for blue collar workers, brother. And I hope you hearing him say that, and maybe you can go through YouTube and find, just type in Kevin Samuel on blue collar worker. That's all, because this was a salute. This video was a salute to blue collar workers. So yeah, when they come on there and they talk about, I don't want no truck driver, I don't want no plumber. What he going? He's like, hold on, what are you talking about? He'll start going in on those women, talking about, he's like, if it wasn't for blue collar workers, the whole country wouldn't survive. He said white collar workers needed blue collar workers. You guys keep our nation moving, the world going. You blue collar workers. This is what he would say. And I'm going to let you finish, but I just wanted to give you some encouragement to let you know Kevin Samuel's actually on your side. Okay? All right. You can keep going, and then we're going to go to patriarchal tone. All right?
Yeah, well, I'm good. You can go ahead.
Oh, you good? Okay. No problem.
That's I just never seen that. I just always thought he talked bad about the blue collar workers. And that's what it was.
No, he's probably rolling over his grave right now, because he's like, what you talking about? He would be getting on you right now, okay? But thank you, NWA, for coming up and sharing a portion of your thoughts. I appreciate it. We're only at 26,000 likes. I asked for 30,000 likes. You guys keep tapping the screen and keep participating with tapping. And thank you so much for being here. Patriarchal Tone, you are on the mic now. Patriarchal, if you're there. Tone, nephew. Ooh, hello.
I'm here.
What took you so long?
I'm sorry, I was on the phone.
You over there blue collar working?
Mm-hmm. You know.
All right.
Slabs of it. No, I'm playing. But let's see. What's the question? The first question. The drizzle movement. What can you say? I can barely see it. You know, my eyes bad.
Oh, it's basically what I'm asking first is, has Kevin Samuel's message moved the community forward, or is the message being diluted? And then up top, I just said drizzle, the soft guy era. What would Kevin agree? And I was kind of going to save that, but would he agree with that? But you can go ahead and start wherever you want to take it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll start with has his message moved the community forward?
Mm-hmm.
If it was listened to, yes. It definitely would have. You would see more discipline when it comes to the men. You would see more cooperation when it comes to the women. You definitely would. But since, like everything throughout time, it gets diluted. It gets twisted, everything, they make everything wicked. And therefore you make Kevin Samuels look like Hitler in a sense. That's what people like to do. So of course his message has definitely been diluted. I don't know. I wasn't listening too much to the person that was up here before, but he probably had something that was misinformation about Kevin Samuels. Like I said, people tend to go off of what they heard, not going to the source. Right. It is what it is. But I would say definitely his message is definitely helpful. I don't think he said much too different from what men that had, something to say in the past have done. He's just in our generation and said it. But like I said, people like to twist things. The drizzle movement of the soft guy era. Would Kevin Samuels agree with it? I think he would take the same approach that I did to it. I think it was funny. I think it was funny. Me personally, do I agree with it? Not really. I don't see myself as a person that would change my character because somebody else. So no. But it is definitely funny. I understand that the movement or this era thing is purely satirical. I understand that. Right. And I think Kevin Samuels probably would too. He would tell them they're just putting a mirror up to you, and now you are looking at yourself and you're saying, hey, this looks like this. This looks like this. These men are DL, or you want other men and stuff like that. That's what we're starting to hear. It's starting to sound like a bunch of red pill women, in my opinion. But I digress. But no, I don't think he would want this to be something that men should adopt as a lifestyle or in their character. But he would definitely say, well, this is what your behavior will lead to. And this is what we see when you do this. This is what we see. But yeah, like I said, I don't agree with it. I don't think he agreed with it, but his movement, yeah, what he said and his message, powerful. I think a lot of people just love to twist what he said. They love to twist what he said, just like everyone else.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Tapping that screen. We're not at 30,000 likes yet, so let's just keep on tapping, okay? Let's keep tapping that screen. Thank you, Kevin. I'm not Kevin, Tone, for that. He's on my mind so much right now. I'm calling y'all Kevin. Lord Jesus. You said that the message is being diluted. That's interesting. And I know that the drizzle thing is just a satire thing, and I know it's just a joke. I know it's a flip from sprinkle, and I know it's not for real. But I have news for you fellas. The sprinkle is for real for them. They not playing. When that lady over there telling them, he looking at other women, look at another man's car, sprinkle, she means it. And they mean it. And the thing is that it's just the same thing for you men who were listening to Kevin Samuels. He said something positive, he said something constructive, something that's productive or whatnot. And you all took it serious, right? But it was constructive, it's honest. But this is manipulation. This woman is for real. So I mean, I know your nature just won't let you do it, But women, on the other hand, like y'all say all the time, women and men are different. We're not equal. We think differently, and for them, it's for real. It's not a game for them. It's sprinkle for real, for real. Okay, all right. So think about that. But I understand what you mean, Tone. Go ahead. You want to say something else?
Yeah. Also to Blue Heart's point about the message of Kevin Samuels is the buy a dog, unalive alone, and the 4B. Um, I would say, yeah, they are similar. Pretty much, what the 4B movement would be is a manifestation of that, what he said. That's the manifestation of it. That is a manifestation of, I'm going to, like you said, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. I don't want to take accountability. I don't want to have to deal or know that I have agency in the choices that I have made in my life. And I am going to just opt out. And that's what he told these women. If you don't want to change, you don't want to change because you understand, like, you live in a man's world. I'm sorry, that's what it is. You live in our world. If you don't want to change and acquiesce, buy a dog, unalive alone. 4B movement is a manifestation of that.
Yeah, that's true. If anybody else has anything to say, or someone to say something in regards to what Tony said, or you want to take your turn, I think it's J Walk 2000.
Hello, sis. Let me first apologize for my outburst earlier and not recognizing you. Thank you for allowing me up.
Oh
Brothers,
yeah,
what's
no
happening?
problem. Thank you. Go ahead. You want to give your thoughts?
Yeah. Basically, everything in life is like a 50-50 hit or miss kind of thing. There's always an equal and opposite reaction to everything. And I would say that's the same thing with the message that he put out. For those who are going to receive it, they received it. You've got men and women alike that both gained from Kevin Samuel's message. You had men that learned to be better men. You had women that learned to be the kind of woman that wanted to be with a man for whatever their goal in life was. If they saw what they were missing in their life and they got it from him, they took that and they moved forward with it. Not everybody's going to go. Not everybody's going to be able to go alone. Some people are just not going to get it. We've got a shit ton of brothers that badmouth women that don't even have their own shit together. They couldn't lead themselves out of a wet paper bag, but they want to lead somebody. But that's because they live in an echo chamber and they regurgitate what they hear. If you're not prepared to lead, learn to lead before you open your mouth and make yourself look like an idiot. I've been down that road when I was young and had no skill set, had no training. I'm trying to tell people how to do stuff and I'm failing at it big time. And it took me a while to get to that point. As men, we have to learn what it is to be a man. We have to learn what it is to lead if we want to be able to lead. The 4B movement. If these women choose to live a life in solitude, in isolation, I don't have a dog in that fight. That's not the woman for me. I'm not the man for her. I don't care. If you want to go off and live by yourself and do whatever it is you want to do without a man in your life, then more power to you. I am not going to waste my energy trying to convince a woman that doesn't want me and the woman that I don't want to want a man. You're grown. Do what you want to do. It's all very simple. We can't make everybody follow what we believe. That's why you got 150 different religious beliefs in the world, because people believe what they choose to believe because they are adults and they're going to do what they want to do. Those like-minded people that click together, they stick together, they will have a great life doing that. It's very simple. Live your life and leave people alone who don't agree with you. You don't have to be a miserable person and be disrespectful and rude to each other. Just if you don't see eye to eye, just don't deal with each other and let it go. It's just that simple for me.
Yeah.
I think Kevin was a great man to the point that he did champion regular brothers. Um, I watched some of those episodes and I was very proud to hear him speak that way. The only time he spoke that I gathered, the only time that he spoke to high value men is when women came up pushing the agenda about what kind of man they wanted, and he wanted to assure them that they were not the caliber woman that deserved a high caliber man. So that's when he would talk about that. But for the most part, he talked to brothers about being better brothers, about being responsible men. And he definitely told a man that you want a traditional woman, be a traditional man, pay 100% of everything. And I agree with that 100%. If you want that kind of woman, be that kind of man.
Yes. Okay. All right. Like I said, we're gonna keep moving through, and then if anybody has anything that they wanted to rebuttal, or I think Jaywalk, you had a disagreement or something about what Blue Heart said. Did you want to say that, or did you want to just pass on?
Oh, no, that was it. It was about the 4B stuff. Man, let them women be.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. All right, Rude, go ahead and
Hey, Kanah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I think I would agree that a lot of Kevin Samuel's message has been kind of diluted, and because of that dilution, people don't understand what his message is really about. And they would sometimes, I think, deliberately be obtuse and misconstrue what he was saying. A lot of what he said to women regarding high value men partially had to do with the fact that high value men are extremely rare. I look at these numbers all the time. So let's say, for example, a city like Houston. Men who are 6 feet tall or taller make $100,000 a year and are good looking by American women's standards, which American women consider 80% of men ugly. They only find 15% good looking. So roughly, there are fewer than 300 men in Houston that fit that description. And that's across all races. And that's between the ages of 18 and 60, going as high as 60 years old. There's 800,000 women in this town. There's literally not enough of those men. There's less than 300 of them. And so for a lot of these women a lot of them were just average. They're not going to get that guy. There's no way they're getting that guy. It's absolutely delusional. That guy has too many options. He can get a gorgeous woman who doesn't have kids, et cetera, et cetera. So, he wasn't being mean. It's just the reality. If a woman has 4 kids by 3 different men, she has a lower market value than a woman who doesn't have kids. And then there's other factors like if we really deep dive into the numbers, the divorce rate for women who marry as a virgin is only 6%. That's not 300 years ago. That's right now. That's 2024. So so a man who has those options, if he can get himself a virgin, he's going to get himself a virgin because that gives him a 94% chance he will spend the rest of his life with that woman. So these things matter. So all that stuff about body count, yeah, apparently it matters. The data speaks for itself. But the drizzle thing, of course, that's men are joking with that and showing women how ridiculous they're being. The 4B movement, I'm actually grateful for them because they're highlighting which women are crazy. Because it's crazy, buy a dog and end alone. People think he was being mean with that, but that was something he specifically only said to women who were being so stubborn and their refusal to make any changes at all in how they address the issue of their chronic loneliness. If you're in a position where you're late 30s, early 40s, you're average looking, maybe a little better than average looking, you got children, you're not getting that guy that you want. You have to make an adjustment to what you're going to go after, or you will end up alone. That's not being mean. That's reality. That's as real as Coach is probably not going to marry a supermodel. That's probably not going to happen. I can probably end up with a pretty cute woman, but a supermodel is not going to happen unless I get rich, which I'm not. I think in my case, I'm around twice what the average man earns, but I'm very short. It's not realistic for me to go at the top less than 1% of women. That would be foolish on my part. So it's just being real. So I think a lot of his message did get twisted, misunderstood, and they didn't see the value in it, because if they actually listened to his advice, they'd actually give themselves a much better chance of finding somebody appropriate for them. But then a lot of that speaks to how our culture is so twisted. We value the wrong things. We prioritize the wrong things. We prioritize the things that in the long term don't matter that much. And I think if we listen to people like him, I think we could move forward from that. Because what was he saying? He was saying, get your life together. I mean, not just to the women, but I think the first 2 years of his show, he almost entirely just addressed men. I've listened to him on that show tell the guy, look, your problem is you're short, you're broke, you're lazy, you got a small dick. Like he actually told the guy, because he asked him if he had a big one, and the guy was like, guy's hemming and hawing. It's like, look, you know whether you got a big one or not. Do you or do you not have a big one? He's like, no, I don't. It's like, okay, so you're short, you're broke, you're fat, you're lazy, and you don't got a big. You need to do something. Stop complaining about these women. Go out there, make something of yourself, acquire high value skill, get in the gym. If you're short, you need to get jacked. So was he? Did he pander to that man? No, he told him. He gave him a reality check. And I hope the guy listened to him, because the truth is, you want to present the best version of yourself that you can if you're looking to find a genuine partner. But then you also have to have your priorities in the right place, because marriage is not about just happiness. It's about duty and honor and responsibility. It's also about survival. And hopefully more women start listening to what he had to say. And I really hope his imitators step up and give the message as intended, because the message as intended is get your life together, make something of yourself, and it's like the Bible says, let no man think more highly of himself than he ought to. You got to be realistic about who you are, what you have to offer, and what you can get. That's not a bad thing, because if you are realistic, you give yourself the best possible chance. Like what I said about Houston, right? There's only about maybe 300 men that fit that upper crust category, right? Now, if a woman says, okay, I'll accept a man who's average or better. Men who are average or better in the city of Houston, there's 560,000. That's a lot more than 300, isn't it? That's a way better chance of finding somebody. I'll land my plane.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty tough right there, but you can't tell them that. and Bop went, but they must have had to drop. But I guess they'll be back later. I'll be here for a little bit. You guys keep tapping that screen. Thank you for the subscribers. We need 5 subscribers. Actually, we need 4 subscribers for tonight, and then the cash apps is $ Kana 76. So I'll be here for a little while and have this conversation with you all, okay? Because and I just wanted the men to come up and just tell me what they see. And I want some women to come up. And those of you women that did like Kevin Samuels, those of you that remember his message in if you can just give your thoughts about what you think, okay, where it's going. So I want you all to come up and do that as well. So we have Just Me, which is Frank, that's on the panel. Hello, Mr. Thank you so
Hello,
much for
Miss
coming up,
Kanai.
brother.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Good,
good.
good to see you. What
Good
you
to see
got
you.
for us, Frank? You got something? You
I
watch
got a
Kevin
little.
Samuels, Frank?
I got a little something. Oh yeah,
You
that's
did?
oh,
Okay.
that's my father.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, what you got? You think that the message is being moved forward, or you think that it's diluted in any way?
Well, yeah. I think the message is being moved forward, and because at the beginning it was just men and talking all about things that they had problems with, and and that's why the that's why well, I want to say this. I want to just say that I think it's moving forward because at the beginning a lot of it brought out a lot of stuff so people can talk about and they can see and a lot of things that men can see that was going on that that they couldn't see if TikTok wasn't out. You know what I'm saying? So it brought a lot of awareness to men, and of course, it's a lot of women, and they gonna fight. They're gonna fight to the nitty gritty. You know? But it moved. It moved. It started some stuff, and it started a lot of women that was just silent and wouldn't come forward and say anything. But then they start coming forward. A lot of women, but you got those women that them women that we talk about. They gonna fight because they don't want nothing to change. They stuck in their ways, and it's a fight against men anyway with them. So, oh yeah, I think it's better than it's doing real good for the community. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
And yeah, because if not, you know what I'm saying, then we men wouldn't be standing up and talking about what's going on. It's like we love all the women. We love our women, but when we start feeling like us feel like that we're being deceived purposely, then that make us wants to change and think about it. You know what I'm saying? Hold up, we love you. We don't mind doing this for you because the world's leaning this way, or we taught to love y'all. And then when we feel like you deceiving us purposely. Now, if you deceive us on a mistake, we can let that go by. But after all the stuff that's been going on, and we seeing, because TikTok allow men to see all the stuff that's going on, and the women, talk about stuff that they do, which they damage themselves and tell on themselves and stuff like that. We see that. Men see that, and they be like, I know. We like, hold on, wait a minute. I do anything for you, but if you don't turn around and deceive me purposely, and I'm doing all this DNA, I'm a man. I'm not gonna just allow that, So yeah, it brought a lot of awareness in the movement. It might have been, the message might be watered down a little bit now because the message was out there real strong, and now we still trying to keep it going, And just like anything that keep going on and on, other stuff get added to it, and then people try to make it weak or make it stronger, but it's not gonna go nowhere because it done changed a lot of men, and men are standing up. Like the other guy says, they explain it very well, and I like that. That's why I like coming on here to listen to the guys and listen to you and have times like that. So, right.
Right.
So, basically,
Absolutely.
that's what I have to
Okay. Well,
say.
you feel like the movement in the message is still hanging on. I guess I can see where in some instances that is happening as
Right.
well. I think I can see that, but like I said, I'm going to hold my opinion until later, and then we're gonna go over some of this other stuff that's on the board as well with the sprinkle thing. I mean the drizzle thing.
Right.
But yeah.
You're gonna have those. They gonna fight to the end. They're gonna stand up because they're not getting the kind of men they want anyway and stuff like that. Like things not going their way. They're gonna fight against the men. They're gonna fight against it. Period. But the message is still getting out because more women, is coming forward. Because like at first I used to see a lot of women shaking their booty on social media. You don't see that much, not that much as they did at first. At first I didn't hear no women coming up until you all came up. You and certain few ladies come up and stuff like that. So it's moving forward. It's not, it's going to be those that's not going to try to keep it from going forward, going to try to dilute it and change it. That's just the way it's going to be. But it done made a movement. It done made progress. It done opened up men's eyes, and men done got aware. And they have brought out stats for men's, stats for the women to look at, whether they want to, accept it or not. Yes, it's moving forward. I see it. So that's what I want. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know what, CB in the comments? Hey brother, you are right. And this is TikTok and I'm not on Facebook or YouTube a lot anymore. Jaywalk could stop cutting up. So I'm not on there like I used to be, and but this is a different environment. It's a different animal over here on TikTok. So, I still watch the Fresher Fit here and there, and I still watch, I still listen to Andrew Tate when I can, I hope I don't get banned for that because they hating on him right now. But you're right, CB. It's what I see here. It's what I see here. But Frank, I do agree with you. I do see what you're saying as far as the message going forward. And you guys, that's why I wanted, some of the men to come up and help me with this, because I guess I'm looking at it from my point of view, being a woman, okay? And what I see, and I'm looking at the men and I'm listening to the men, and I'm looking at how they're dealing with these conversations and how they're having the conversations, whether it is weakened or not, you know what I mean? And like I said, when Kevin was driving home his message, he didn't bend, he didn't compromise, he didn't care what you look like, he didn't care that you had a degree and all, how they try to do him. He didn't give too much leniency at all. Like there was none. And to me, like I said, I'll save what I want to say last, but when it's your baby, when it's something that you came up with, when it's your idea, which is the reason why he came to to social media the way he did, and the way he did it, the way he presented himself. No one can do it like Kevin. And I have to say that, okay? Kevin is who Kevin is. No one can be like him. You can repeat what he said. You can present some of your facts and all of that, which is great. And I'm not saying you guys are saying anything different, but the way he was able to convey his message across and get across to men and women the way that he did, and the way that he dealt with women and did not allow them. And there are some of you that are on this app that do not allow women to move the goalposts, and I have to give that to the classic man, because he doesn't let you get away. You're going to stand on what you say, and that's what Kevin did. He didn't let you say something and then run with it, right? And I see it. I see some things. Now, like I said, I'm gonna save it, but he did not allow women to do that, and I guess that's where I am right now. So, with that being said, I think Queen Mo is up here. Queen Mo. This is the first woman of the night that's on the panel that hopefully has something to say that we want to hear. Queen, are you there? You're muted.
Yes, I am. I was just letting you finish. Thank you, first of all, so much for this platform. I was told about you through King D. So so I'm really excited to be here. I totally agree with your sentiments with Kevin Samuels. I was really sad, to be honest, when he passed away. It was really heartbreaking because he was one of those few people, that had a unique way of delivering message. When I initially heard him, just because of, I feel like how society has kind of coddled women's emotions, so to speak. We're not really accustomed to that directness at all, to be quite honest. Whereas men from the womb, they are taught how to accept rejection in certain ways. And honestly, it wasn't until Kevin breaking it down, something as simple as, okay, do you approach a man or does a man approach you? Of course I don't approach a man. Of course, at least, you know what I mean? And I never thought about, just think about how many dudes you probably was like, no, thank you, or I'm cool. And, they had to just take that and, to the chin and be, if anything, if a guy did spaz out, we looking at you like something wrong with you. Like, oh my gosh, oh, you see how he acted just because I said no and different things like that. But on the flip side, women, that's our natural reaction when we don't get what we want or we get any level of rejection, And so he really opened my eyes to a lot of my own behaviors that I didn't even recognize and my own expectations. So although, a lot of people feel like he was attacking women and only men could benefit because of the way he would approach it. Like, men, you see this, you stay away from this. But I think for me as the woman, it made me kind of reevaluate the type of woman I wanted to be and the way I wanted to show up in my relationships and just even with the men around me, just being more mindful of what they had to go through. And it was the way he went about, I don't want to say roasting, but the way he went about just being honest, where I literally had to look at myself and be real about how I fit in this market, and I was genuinely grateful because, like the brother said, the other guy, I think he just went down, or I don't know if he's still on, but he made a really important point. Once you know the reality and you operate in that space, you actually give yourself more an advantage versus living in this delusional world. You give yourself more an advantage. You're not, so yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Kevin Samuels. To go back to your question, I think it's a little of both. Like you said, from a woman's perspective, it kind of feels like I've seen people take his message and use it in a way to kind of still manipulate, if that makes sense, And I mean, as far as getting a recipe of what he's saying a woman is supposed to do, from being soft, from being feminine, but that's not really who you are. You know, it's more so like a game that you play to kind of reel the men in to still in the end do the same thing that we're trying to prevent from happening, you know. And so as a woman, I see, you know, because as women, we can see through it. You know, there's on this app, you see a lot of creators, you see a lot of stuff happening. And so I've kind of been on the other side. I was actually talking to Dee about this, where I'm like, there's not a lot of women that I feel like I can really, you know, learn from. And that's where your name came up. He's like, well, I got somebody that I think you would really benefit from, you know. And so far, I totally agree. But I do think it has been diluted. Do I think that his message made an impact, or how? Definitely. I feel like even though we may not see a lot of progress, like Dee said earlier, I do see it, because for myself, I just look at how his message affected me in my own life, you know. And although we may not be able to, there's not a lot of us, look at all of us that are here now. You know what I mean? So I definitely, like, we're living proof that he's made a change and he's made a difference. You know, you going forward with this, trying to hold everybody accountable, primarily women, that I can't say, I don't know your life, but I can't say that's 100% him. But I know that clearly he played a huge part in that. You know what I mean? So we're changing the world right now just by doing this. So I think that he made a wonderful impact. And I think you can't, no matter how you try to dilute it, what's real is real. You know, it's not on you, it's in you. You know, so even though there's
So that was
listen, you know, I got that from my babe Nipsey Hussle, you know. He used to always say that, you know. And
okay.
yeah, and I love that idea, you know. And if you remember, even at his funeral, that was Lauren London in her eulogy to him, you know. And she restated that statement. But yeah, I definitely think that he made a huge impact. I do think that we are moving forward, but I also do think that it's being diluted and people are trying to manipulate it to make it their own, to fit into their own way, you know. But if you really understand what he was saying, even if you do get a little duped, you'll be able to see it and know how to move accordingly to that, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Did you want us to address the drizzle thing, or are we waiting on that?
Wait for a little bit. I'm gonna wait on that for a little bit.
Okay.
Well, but you're welcome to stay up here with me. You know, you're the only woman up here with me right now. So if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. And I do appreciate it. King D, thank you for the recommend.